Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world. This is the Backdrop CMS documentation meeting on in most parts of the world on the 24th of July 2025. My name's Martin Price, Yorkshire Pudding around Backdrop. I'm in North East England, and I've got a key interest in trying to improve our documentation, and so we're going to have a meeting where we look at some of the issues around documentation. If everyone else would like to introduce themselves, I'll pass to Tim, and then Tim, if you pass on to someone else.
Sure, my name's Tim. I'm St. Paul Tim in Deerwood, Minnesota, and I'll pass it along to Jen.
I'm Jen Lampton from Oakland, California. And Izzy, if you're still here, pass it back to you.
Hi, I'm Izzy. I'm from Vancouver, BC. Glad to be here. Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen with the issue queue. I'll just zoom in a bit so it's a bit easier. I mean, we could start at the most recent. That might be because we probably won't get through them all. But we can certainly look at a number of them. I won't touch on the database API one because we discussed that quite a bit in the dev meeting that we've just had. So we won't do that, but it's lucky we've got Izzy here, so it would be quite good to talk about this. This came up recently where I think there was someone wanting to do something, and someone pointed out there's a setting option that they could add into settings .php, and I think this prompted. I'll let Izzy carry on, but I think this prompted the idea of how do we make it so that people can find what to do with these settings. I think some of these settings aren't necessarily. There's a lot of settings in settings.php that have, but I don't think every possible setting is in settings.php.
Yeah, it sort of reminded me a bit about WordPress because they have settings that you can put in their PHP file. I forget what that file's called now, but it helps refine what you can do. And the same thing applies with the Backdrop settings PHP file as it did with the Drupal. So having those things collected together, I think, would be useful for people. I'm quite open to where. In terms of this particular issue, it also got raised further on Zulip, how putting it in the README of specific modules like the spam modules, the banning IP, etc., as a known issue also makes sense because it's immediate to where it applies. So there may be some overlap.
Yeah. Okay. I think one question that sort of springs to mind is there's probably a lot of unknowns where we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what all the different settings are. I don't know if there is a way that we can easily find what settings might be pulled in. Is there a can we look at, is there a list of all of the unique ones, or can we search through the code base to see what all of them are? I don't know if you're still there, Jen. It doesn't look like it.
Still here. I am nearly positive that there are settings that are not listed in there, and they're fairly obscure ones. and everything that we put in there was stuff that we thought people needed to know about at the time they're installing Backdrop. So
Yeah.
I don't know how to find a complete list, but that might be useful as a single page where we did list them all out.
Yeah.
But yeah, what we could do is search the code base for like settings get and see what.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was wondering. Okay. I'll just put a comment.
Or on backdropcms.org, if you look at the settings get function, it'll tell you how many modules implement it, and that would give you a general idea as opposed to exact, because some modules probably do multiple settings, but
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Do you want to take that forward, Izzy? And do you think that's doable for you?
I can give that a shot. I mean, I also like the idea of it, being a place where people can add ideas as tips. And there's a few others that I've
Yeah.
crossed over time that I could start adding into it. I guess the first thing is we need to sort of have a page where this is happening, or do we just keep fleshing it out in this issue queue first?
I think there's be value in fleshing it out in the issue queue first, so that at least we've got some, and with an explanation of where you might need to use it. And I guess as we build up a list of them, it might then lend itself to a structure for how they're organized on a page. Because I think if we just start adding them, then it could end up being quite hodgepodge. Whereas we might be able to see a structure forming as we collect them.
Okay, that makes sense. It sort of reminds me of the other point I was going to make. I discovered the other day when I went into the doc site that I was able to make a change right on the doc page, and I did. And I don't think it was a big one, but it made me realize the question as to how I and other people should really approach this, and become more aware of this issue queue we're looking at right now as sort of the entry point. Make a comment here before you actually make a change on the doc site.
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, I think sometimes I'll be on a page and I'll spot a typo, and I'll just go in, edit it, or straight away. And I think if you put if you create a revision and put a revision note, then I think that's probably the proportionate response to something like that. I think where we're talking about more substantive changes, I think they do warrant a bit of an issue because there might be some discussion.
But we could like create, if you're creating a new page or something, you could create it in draft state and then in the issue link to it and be like, hey, I'm working on this. I need feedback. And then, I don't know, hopefully other people will be able to see it, but yeah, it is sometimes hard to write text in an issue.
Because we don't really have a content moderation approach for the doc site, right?
We do have revisions.
We have revisions, yes.
We just don't have like it doesn't email someone and notify them and have approval or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So we do now have the draft workflow contrib module available, which would at least allow somebody to edit a node and keep the edit in draft state. It's a pretty new module, so it needs some testing. But eventually I'd like to see something like it on the doc site. I don't know if we're ready for that yet. I would be, but
what module is that, Tim?
pretty sure we called it draft workflow. It's the idea was forward revisions. So you can have a revision that's ahead of the current one that's not published.
Right, I remember you mentioning it before. That would be handy.
Yeah. So if it were on the current site and you were looking at a documentation page that had an error, you could create a new revision ahead of the current one, make some proposed changes, save it in draft state, and then ask somebody else to look at it. It wouldn't notify anybody. It doesn't have any kind of roles or anything like that. It's very, very simple module.
Mm. Yeah. So we could open an issue for adding that.
I'll do that. Open an issue to maybe try that module out. It is draft workflow. That was the name we decided on.
Yeah. So this was a recent one. I think this is I think this is Rob, the chap that you met, who's created a few docs issues.
Oh, is this the guy from IdCamp?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So basically suggesting that the page, let's open that in a new tab so we can have a look at it. The beginning of the docs page says all style sheets defined in the parents theme will be inherited as long as you must declare at least one style sheet in your sub-theme for any of the parent themes styles to be inherited. Whereas he's suggesting that actually if you just create a .info file, then they do all get inherited. So I don't know if that is correct or not. It's got also mentioned the end of the override JavaScript. I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
I'm creating other issues on the surface. I don't think I'm going to be able to add much to this topic. I can look at it.
Yeah, I don't know that I have I'm just gonna categorize it, but I don't have the answer to this. I don't know, but perhaps if someone's watching, they feels that they can offer an authoritative response on that, they would be happy to take a look at this and consider if we need to change our documentation. Let's go on to so this is one that I have raised, that we do have code syntax highlighting for things like PHP and CSS, and I think JavaScript as well, and possibly others, but we don't have any for SQL. So I've referenced this in relation to one page that I was creating, and this is what it looks like in GitHub, where you can easily put the free backticks and SQL, and then you get nice formatted, so all the keywords and other things are highlighted, so it's easier to read. But on the docs site, this is what it looks like, because you just have to do it as plain text. And this feeds into where we're talking about the database API pages. If if we do, it would be helpful in where we do that to say, this is how you build a select query, and this is the query that will be, this is the query that will result from that. So I don't know if that is a config, if we need additional, if we need an additional syntax highlighter to be able to do that, or
Yeah, right. The code filter module does that. And we would just need a plugin that would support the MySQL syntax. I'm just checking to see if Drupal had one. That would be easy. Not obviously. Oh wait, MySQL? No. Well, I mean, if one doesn't exist, I'm sure there are a million libraries out there that do this that we could figure out how to use to make one. But
okay.
there's probably one that exists already. We just gotta find it.
Okay. So these are these are some of the UX ones that we've discussed quite recently in documentation meetings. So I'm not going to revisit these at this time simply because we've discussed them recently, and I don't think there's any we haven't made any progress other than this contrib documentation which we've started to do, and if no one has seen this yet, we do have some, and we've started to add this for a few modules. So this is one of mine, and we've got like a top level one, and then we've got a sub page, but we can easily go back to the main page, and there's a few others there, so worth looking at. And if you've got a module and you want to add documentation, one of the advantages of putting them here is that they will be searchable by Google, which they're not when they're on GitHub. So let's move on to the next one. So this was raised in the forum, that someone was, I think, installing it on their own server, and the PHP requirements, I'll just open this page. It didn't list all of the different things, perhaps because on most installations the PHP are included by default, but we've got I'm just trying to remember who mentioned it. Ron Ono mentioned it, but we've had further feedback from Daniel Shoney, who I've seen around. I think he comes to some of the Backdrop Lives, if I remember rightly. But
It's been around a while.
Yeah, certainly seen him around quite a bit, and he's expanded out a list. So I don't know how best to do this. There's a further list there, and I'm not sure because I don't know that SQLite or PG SQL would be required, or even Firebird. It's so I think we'd need to bottom out which ones, and I thought that MySQLi was deprecated in favor of PDO. So I'm not sure that this list is correct in
Was
terms
this
of.
pulled from Drupal?
No, this seems to be what he's experimented with and
Okay.
decided that he needs it, but some of these just don't look that you would need them.
Yeah.
Could that be for contrib modules?
Actually, sorry, these are actually commented out. So it's perhaps not very clear because some of these are commented out. So he's got Perl, file info, GD, get text, INTL, MB string, MySQLi, OpenSSL, PDO MySQL, and extension sockets and sockets. So, but the rest all seem to be commented out. So,
Right.
That might be correct. I'm not sure whether we want how we would want to do this because this is under the getting started, and it might be too much to have
Yeah.
a full list of extensions when they're likely to be there by default.
Yeah.
I mean,
What I
almost
would
want.
recommend is we just have like add one sentence that's like complete list of extensions available here, and we link to like a page that's indicated as advanced that just says these are the PHP libraries that Backdrop expects, and that way they're not on this page, but someone on this page would get that link to be able to figure out.
Yeah.
I like that. Yep.
Yeah. So it could go in the advanced. It could link to a page under advanced installation.
Sure.
Okay, so
and I think Nate knows the exact list, so we could just get him to QA this and make sure that's right.
Yeah.
It's a new page. You can make a draft and just ask him to review it.
Yep.
And then add the link afterwards. Before you go to a new one, could you jump to the top of the list? Just because I added a new one and I'm here. Maybe you have to add that one. Yeah, the better document. Yeah. So, Jan, I don't know if you know yet, but last Monday I launched my Panoply upgrade to Backdrop.
Congrats, that's exciting.
The one I've been talking about for years with like 20,000 articles and
nice.
Would love to. Did you ever do yours? Have you done any of yours yet?
So I'm working on one right now. What we just decided there were 14 panelized nodes, so we just rebuilt those as layouts. In fact, some of them just became normal nodes over time. They weren't needed anymore. And then the other one I'm working on that has hundreds of them, I haven't started on yet. So
okay. Well, I don't. This isn't really on topic for this meeting, so I'll skip over it. But it had 3,000 images with no use count, and the editor complained that there were images they couldn't use in the. And I know I've heard this issue coming up, and sure enough, it was just talked about it a few months ago. And IndigoZilla actually created a module that goes through and fixes the use count, although I'm a little bit not sure what fix means, what exactly the module does, but none of that is important. Is that it seems to me that that I've heard many times this issue of like, what is file status and use count and temporary versus permanent. I'm not aware of any documentation page that sort of explains that. Is there, am I missing anything? I originally thought I should write a blog post that, but then
Yeah.
it seems like maybe we just need a doc page on that topic. And I started to draft something that's very basic. So the questions are, one, is there something like that already that sort of talks about use count and status of
I don't think
files?
so.
Okay, and then does that make sense for documentation? And then could people look at my, we don't need to talk about my draft here, but
I'm not sure we have any documentation pages on the files listing at all, because that went in as part of file entity module.
Mhm.
And so it might be helpful to add one, like we have like content.
Could be under here, because under using backdrop, because we've got loads of other stuff that's
right. There is working with files, but that's not really about like maybe the manage files page could be part of that.
Yeah, I
oh
don't
yeah.
know what is on working with files.
Yeah, so it
this
could
is this is
be.
old. This is file module. We don't want this anymore. We want
All right.
this is, yeah, this doesn't include anything, I think, from file entity, but this is a perfect place for an update where we could add it. Yeah, and I think this is one of those things where like it makes perfect sense once you know it, but before you know it, it doesn't make
Right.
sense.
Right. It's
Yeah,
not that complicated, but
it's a
if you don't, like
mystery.
you say, if you don't know it, it's a
Mhm.
little bit like,
Yeah,
sure. And I just
yeah,
want to play, I want a place to go where when I visit this next time, I can confirm what I think is happening is
yeah,
actually happening.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, it is a little tricky, like especially if you're coming from a Drupal site that didn't have file entity module. There are a lot of holes between what Drupal did and what Backdrop does. And so I don't know if that's what happened on your upgrade, Tim, but trying to connect everything that wasn't previously connected. I've also had issues with that with some of my upgrades. Got to like manually update that table.
Well, this has come up often enough that I think it's a common problem with Drupal upgrades.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that files don't get the use count, and that's what IndigoZilla created this module, and she has a statement in there saying that that she's seen it fairly common. And when I say she's seen it, I think she's helped many people who've had this problem.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think there's like when you do the upgrade, the last step is like classify file types and it makes entries for them, but it does not add use count for them. So,
Right.
yeah.
So she has this file fixer module that I was last night in a discussion with her trying to figure out, well, if I run this on my site, what is it actually doing? Is it just like adding a 1 to all of the use counts that don't have anything? And I'm not getting a clear answer.
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
I may not worry about it. I might just go ahead and run it on and we did run it last night on our dev site just to see what happens, but I haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, Tim. I do think I had a quick look at what you wrote, and I think it would be a very useful addition.
Okay. So, okay, well, I'll have to look at the working with files page, but it sounds like Jen's saying that that's out of date information. So maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, well, okay. I'll look through it, see if I can tell what's out of date or not.
It was just written before we
Right.
added file entity. It was from the initial version where the only way you could add a file was like uploading it through the attached files field.
Okay, so is it less about things in there being wrong and or more so that it's just incomplete?
Yeah, it only talks about the less
Okay.
good way to do it.
Sure, got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have long left, but we'll hopefully get through a few more. So, what's this? Some of functionality from better format is in core, so it can be listed on
Oh,
features. So let's have a.
yeah, that's true.
This is valuable. If some of these suggestions that people
Yeah.
have made are legit, then by enacting them, we might encourage them to submit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be great. Now we've got 90 plus.
So Martin, I'm sorry, did you go ahead and edit the page right now live?
No,
or-
I haven't. Do we
Okay.
want to?
I'll do it.
Is that just a matter of,
Jen's
Okay.
going to do it.
Yeah.
Great. If you can
Okay.
just update that once it's done. Brilliant. Okay. Add documentation for supplemental CSS classes.
oh, well, as the
Is this-
author of that PR, I might be
Is this?
I wasn't Jen or I were the authors.
Is it?
Um,
What are the supplement? Is this for the updates?
This is the thing in core where we can now add a supplemental CSS class that will allow us to fix CSS moving forward in a backward compatible way. And I think RG Piano or somebody recommended that we should document that, and which is a good idea that I don't think has happened yet. It is or did
Yeah.
oh, maybe we did supplemental.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so is this done already, or is it like waiting?
It's. I think it might be. I mean,
It could be I was looking for somebody to review it.
yeah, it
Let
may
me-
be draft, but let's have a look. No, it's published, so that's the published version. So it does look like it has actually been done.
Wonder if I did that or somebody else did.
Bug folders published it.
Okay.
Mhm. Okay. So Izzy, did you have now? I mean, you have editor, right? So do you think there are? I think some of these have been done.
So it's a long time since I looked at that.
Well, if perhaps Izzy, if you can I'm just trying to think about moving things forward. If you can have a look at what you've suggested,
Yeah,
and if you think they've been done, or
yeah, I'd be happy to go back and look at that.
want to edit it, and then we can close it off if it's done.
Excellent.
Sounds like a plan.
Right. How have we got? Documentation. So we've already touched on this. I think we do have. We're starting to add documentation for contrib modules.
Has there been any progress? Any new contrib modules been added?
Not since we added some. So I think I've got 2 on there. there was one you added as a demo, and then there's the one that you've added for domain. So it'd be good to add more, but this is probably quite urgent to get done now. I know, Izzy, you were having a look at it, but then I think events kind of took over you, and maybe you haven't
Yeah, I haven't
managed to look at it.
I
So,
haven't been back to that one either.
so you don't think you've got any further than what I had there?
No, I'd have to go back and look at that again.
Okay. I mean, if you have got any further, then it might be worth putting that up, and we can try and get something published on this, because it's been in for a while now. So we really should. I mean, I have updated I have made a link to the change record, so it's not like there's nothing there, but we could really do with updating it.
Yeah, that would be a good one to wrap up.
And I think we're at the top of the hour, and I do have to go, so I will stop sharing. And yes, that is that's just a small snapshot of some of the more recent issues that we've gone through today. You can add your own issue. You can go through and look at them. I think in future meetings, maybe we'll try to delve into some of the other ones that we haven't looked at, and because there may well be ones that we can either close off, or there may be some easy fixes in there that we can do to really improve the documentation site. But thank you to everyone for joining today and contributing. I think it's been a useful session to try and drive forward some of improvements to the documentation.
Okay.
We also have a documentation channel within Zulip where we can chat about things. So if you're not able to make these meetings, you do feel free to chat there as well as in the issue queue. But that, unless anyone wants to add anything else, I think we can wrap up for today.
Okay, I'll go ahead and stop the live stream.